Welcome to Boomtown, the infamous music festival held near Winchester in the UK. With an artistically fabricated storyline and the creation of imaginative stages, the festival includes a diverse lineup of many artists. You visit the festival as a music listener and you leave as part of the story. The festival has meant a great deal to thousands over the UK. However, it is growing. Boomtown has taken social media by storm the past few years. It has had a great deal of love from people of all ages, and I think 2024 is due to be its busiest year yet. So, welcome to Boomtown, aka Temple Valley in Winchester. I thought it would only be appropriate to film where this place is, Boomtown. I think I'm situated above downtown because down there, very far down there, is the valley. So first up, my main concerns from when I went to the festival. When I applied to MyCause this time last year, I was so excited, but I had so many worries, and to start off with, I'm going to go into deposits because that's the main thing everyone questions about, the money. So if you don't already know how this works, applications open in January each year, which allows people to apply for a variety of festivals from Drum and Bass All Stars to Shambhala, I think it is, and Boomtown. You pick the festival you want to apply for, you pick a charity, pay the deposit, and then wait for your application to be accepted. Pretty much, it's quite simple. You've just got to put in your details online. And also, depending on the festival you apply for, you will be charged a different deposit. Boomtown's a 5-day festival, whereas I think Drum and Bass All Stars is like 2 or 3, but there are also some 1-day festivals, so the deposit may be £50, or in Boomtown's case, it's £250. And as long as you work the festival, sign in and out of all your shifts, you will get the £2.50, 250 quid back at the end of the season. Might I add to that, £25 from that 250 quid is taken to donate to your charity. As MyCause is a charity, when you work with them, you pick a charity you want to donate to, and you can choose to donate more, but they will automatically take £25 to donate, if that makes sense. On top of this, with the 250 deposit, you can work as many festivals as you want for the whole season, which I think is absolutely incredible. So I could literally do 4 or 5 festivals this year, for the grand total of 250 quid, which is great. You can't complain at that. But I want to add, with every festival with MyCause, when you're given your high vis, that is a symbol of your deposit. If you lose that, you lose the deposit. So make sure you take care of your high visors. So next up, camping, getting there, and the facilities. So myself and a friend drove and arrived on the Tuesday last year. For Boomtown staff, parking was free, which was great, and it was so close to the camp. It was really easy to navigate, and when we arrived, we went straight to Accreditation. I believe we got our staff wristbands there. Oh no, you get both wristbands there. You get a MyCause one and a staff one. Get your wristband, show your IDs, you go through security, and then you are directed to your camp. And then when you enter your camp, you're also given your high vis there along with your shifts. Bear in mind, MyCause aren't the only volunteers. There are loads of other companies as well as Oxfam, and we all kind of sort of camped in a little bit of a circle. So yeah, don't go into anyone else's campsite, make sure you get the right one. For anyone wondering how far the MyCause camp is away from the arena, I'd say it's around a 15-20 minute walk, obviously up hills, it depends how fast you're going to walk. Don't be fooled, it's not any quieter than staying in the punters' bar. It is very loud. I don't know how that drum and bass carries over the hill so loudly, but bring earplugs, you're going to need them. So facility-wise, the MyCause camp comes with around 8 to 10 showers. They're pretty decent, like you can't complain, they're free showers, but they're actual like cabinets, like it's a proper enclosed space that you lock. Showers, toilets, free tea and coffee, you get a festival camp map in like the main hub of the camp. You get electric sockets too, so you can charge your phone or charge a power bank. That was really helpful, but be aware people did nick other people's chargers, so make sure you attend it. In the actual camp, don't worry, there is more than enough space to pitch your tent. We were quite worried, so we got there quite early. Turns out there was a lot of space. The camp does have security to stop people who aren't volunteers going in and out. We have someone literally sitting on the gate checking high visors and wristbands as you go into the camp. So if you want to bring friends who aren't staff in, you're not allowed to do that. When it comes to food facilities, MyCause recommend that you bring plates, cutlery, cups, and this is for the crew catering area. So this is located somewhere in the middle of all the staff camping. I'd say it was about 5-10 minute walk from us. The area is sort of like a chill place for workers, because going to get food with all like the punters, it's dirty, there's nowhere to sit. Yeah, it's a really nice place to just chill, read, just refresh yourself. It's quite pretty. So you only need plates and stuff for crew catering. In the crew catering area, there's a massive tent with the crew catering where you go around sort of like you'd imagine like a canteen almost. And then outside, I don't know if this is the same every year, but last year there was this burger van, which was a bus, so we called it the burger bus, and we got all our food from there, because you have to pay for crew catering just as much as you got to pay for this place, and crew catering seemed more stressful, so we went with the unhealthier ones because we're children. But both places I heard were really good. There's places where you can wash up your cutlery. I would personally only bring a travel mug for the free tea and coffee. I didn't really like the sound of crew catering, and it was too much faff to mess around with. Another benefit of volunteering with MyCause is that you're given £36 worth of food vouchers. This counts as £12 worth for each meal. Yeah, obviously you can do the maths. You're given your 3 8-hour shifts and you get a meal for each of them. That is loaded on as £36 on your card, and you can obviously add to that because, you know, 3 meals isn't going to feed you for 5-6 odd days. But yeah, this was a real help for us. So moving on to shifts. So when you sign up, you agree to doing a maximum of 3 shifts. In my experience, people's shifts when they went were either 8 to 9 a.m. starts, which finished at 4 to 5:30 in the evening, or 4 to 6 starts, finishing at around 10 to 12 at night. My experience, Beth and I were given 2 evening shifts and 1 day shift. This was actually quite lucky. It might not sound it, but it was. So in our experience, we found our evening shifts to be in the middle, not stressful but not boring. We ended up getting let off 1 to 2 hours early both shifts, which was, you know, pretty good. The day shifts seemed to be quite busy on the Wednesday, Thursday, maybe Friday, I'm not sure. But on the Saturday when we had a day shift, it was long. We were on our feet for way longer than the evening shift, but it was a lot more quiet. Although it can get boring, what MyCause is all about is spreading good vibes and having fun, however cringy that is to say. That is what we do. We're there to make people smile when they're dragging all their stuff up the hill. We had a speaker going, we were asking people funny questions, going, "Oh, you're almost there now," joking, "You've got a massive hill." We were just messing around, and I'd say that's probably what was so fun about volunteering, and that's why we want to do it again. So next up, what we get to do on shift. So yeah, that's a good question, because they say event stewarding, but what do you actually do? So in my experience, me and Beth were put on Eastgate twice, and then the other one was called like call out team or something, which we basically just sat in the main hub waiting to be needed. We were just extra staff on standby. And then we were needed, guess what, on Eastgate. So we were at Eastgate for all of our shifts, which wasn't bad. We do love Eastgate, which is the closest to the MyCause camp. Westgate is on like the other side, but I think they give you lifts there and like Land Rovers or like the weird Boomtown bus. So both gates are quite similar. So I'll go through the stations just to give you a feel. On an average busy day at the gates, the first station you'll have is in front of the queues. You'll have people just directing people in, answering any questions, and you'll probably be with a few people. You won't be on your own ever. Secondly, you have the ticket booths. Here you check tickets. I don't know, I never got put in this, but people check tickets, they issue wristbands, and I'm pretty sure they show IDs. I'm not really sure. After this, you have another station of people basically directing you to the security gates, basically making sure no one's stopping, holding up people, or like, I don't know, doing anything weird. A big one is helping people carry bags. A lot of people are suffering. A lot of people's trolleys have just broken. Some of them might be pretty nasty. We have had that, but yeah, your job is to help. But yeah, again, you'll be with people, there'll be someone supervising you, you won't be completely on your own. Now, security. Don't worry, we don't work on security, but when it's quiet, you might end up chatting to them. There are people stationed on the other side of security to do the same job as before, like move people on, answer questions, and you might be directing people to the exit on that part. And then you have the proper entrance, the last stop for entry. And this is where people go, "Oh, is this the last one?" And you're like, "Yeah!" And you can hype them up, which is great. So here, this is what me and Beth love doing. We were just put here like most of the time, and we just kind of went with it. You basically scan the QR code on their wristband. There'll be like a little QR code on the top of the wristband, and you're basically scanning people into the festival. You're signing them in, and then when they go through the exit gate, you're signing them out. And finally, after that, You have where people usually crash and sit around because they're through the gates and they're tired already. But a lot of the time in the day here, we had a little DJ set going, and there's like 2 to 3 people who are put on the end just to help people, direct people, make sure people aren't blocking the walkway, that sort of thing. You can't really help people with bags here because you're not allowed to leave your station, so don't worry. You're not going to have to drag loads of bags uphill. That's not our job, so don't worry. So you are briefed to all these stations and you are asked where you prefer to go, so don't worry, you're not just going to get flung into something. And before your shift, you'll be introduced to your supervisor. That supervisor will take care of you. You can ask them to go on a break if you're not feeling great. And there is like a little staff zone in each gate just full with like a toilet, free tea and coffee, biscuits. So you have a place to like refresh, and there is a water tap. So working with friends. So when people apply to MyCause, most people do it because they want to work with their friends. Initially when you apply, you put your friends' details on your PAM profiles. You all need to have each other's details so they know. I know for groups over 5, you need to actually email the team and make sure they know that, or else you're unlikely to get the exact same shifts. You are given your shifts when you enter the camp at Boomtown. I know for other festivals you might receive them beforehand. And then when you arrive, you are asked to attend one of the briefings going on throughout the day. These briefings usually last about 45 minutes and they go over basically everything you need to know. Obviously introduce themselves, the people. I can't remember the lady's name. She was absolutely lovely, and she made sure everyone sort of knew where they stood. If you are unhappy with your shifts, when you get them, you do have a chance to swap them. They basically have a whiteboard in the main hub, and you can put, I think it's your shift details, your name, your number, what shift you want to get. Say if there's like someone who you want to see, or maybe you didn't get a shift with a friend, you have that chance to swap, but someone has to obviously ring you, or you have to ring someone and sort that out. So they don't issue food on shifts. People usually bring their own food to get them through the 8 hours, but they do have free biscuits in the tent. Let me say the gates are really far away, so don't think you can just go to a food store and quickly get some chips or something, because it will be like a 20-minute detour, and our breaks, I think they were around 30 minutes long, so you're just going to spend all your time walking, and frankly after you've done all that work you just want to sit down for a good 30 minutes. But also please bring your own food, because me and Beth did not do this and we ended up really struggling in the end. The first Tuesday they don't really have anything open, and we weren't able to find the staff camping catering area, so yeah, it was we did have to starve. It wasn't great. But yeah, we are very sorry if you were a victim of the lack of biscuits at Eastgate last year. So the event itself, as a first timer, the whole ordeal was absolutely terrifying for me. Right from driving to Winchester, I had only recently passed my driving test. Camping, actually working, and then the partying, it was a lot. I was someone who was completely used to like Reading or Wireless, so Boomtown had a completely different feel for me. Most people who have asked me about the whole experience have mainly said like, how have you had the energy? Did you have the energy? And I think my answer to that is, yeah, I had a really good time, but I did notice a visible decrease in my energy. I feel like I could have done a lot more if I'd actually been like a punter of the festival. I did struggle time to time with some of the acts, like Near Archives was at 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning, which I really struggled with that. But yeah, basically just don't take the piss, make sure you get enough sleep and don't go too hard. If you're going to go really hard with drinking or whatever you do, make sure you dedicate one night to it and maybe plan it around your acts or around your shifts when you get them. Another big question I get from people was how were security? With people, like customers, they were 50-50. You're either going to get someone who maybe strip searches you, or you're going to get someone who really doesn't give to. And with staff, it was about the same. I can't give a great opinion because me and Beth were the first ones there, so they gave us a pretty thorough search, and with the staff security area, it was more intimate than the punters one, and there was a dog, but there wasn't as much room, so it was a lot closer to us. They were pretty consistent with the dog in the main gates, west and east. I did hide a few things in my bag because I really wasn't sure if they were allowed in, and everything got found. Again, it's not something I really want to advertise. You do what you want, but if I can give any advice, let someone else take the fall for drugs when you go into Boomtown, because it just ain't worth the risk. We saw people get arrested pretty much. So any other discounts or benefits to it? No. Just the £36 worth of meal vouchers, obviously the free parking, showers, chargers, shorter walk to camp from the car was great. And the crew catering area, We loved it, to be fair. There were quite a few wasps, but there's going to be everywhere. I'd say it was definitely worth it. So I'm going to do a few questions that people have asked me for this video. What happens if you don't go to your shifts? So basically, in the briefings that you get from the MyCause team, they make it very known that if you do miss shifts, they will chase you, they will go after you. And if you don't go to one, you don't sign in, or you don't stay for the full duration, you will lose your $250 deposit. Even if you fail to go to one of your shifts, you will lose that deposit. So don't be late, because they will consider those things to penalise you with. If you end up feeling ill before your shift or before the event, I think you can get that sorted and not lose your deposit, but you have to be just honest and on it with the management team. Don't leave it to the last minute. Tell them in advance, and they will drill this into you when you get the briefing. As I've said, if you lose the high vis, you lose your deposit, so take care of it. And there will be people around the festival trying to steal it, so do take good care of it, because you know what people are like at festivals. Another one is, can you move to the punters' camps? Say you have friends coming over and you want to camp with them and you don't actually want to camp with the MyCause team, that's fine. I asked this last year. The first Tuesday, everything's a construction site that isn't the staff camping, so you won't be allowed and you'll be the only fucker pitched there. So I wouldn't really recommend that, although you might be allowed. I'm not actually 100%. But yeah, you can. I'd say on the Wednesday when people start moving in, I'd say that would be a good time to do it if that's what you want to do. But as I said earlier, punters aren't allowed into the staff camping areas. I don't know about if you lose facilities for MyCause. I don't know if you lose access to the free showers, but I doubt you would, because you still have the wristbands and everything. Can you leave and re-enter the festival? Yes, like everyone else, you can leave and re-enter, but staff get unlimited re-entries. Do I know why? Not really, but it could be helpful. Please double check, because you don't want to get locked out the festival. And finally, what happens on the Tuesday? So unless you applied for the early shifts, you won't be asked to do anything on the Monday and the Tuesday. You just need to arrive by Tuesday evening, like by the last briefing. They will send you this everything out over email, so you will know. They are really good at keeping you updated and easing you into the process. We were honestly really bored when we arrived on the Tuesday. We arrived at 10 in the morning and there was just 2 of us. We were told we needed to get there that early because of the email. We didn't, but to be honest, I'm glad we did, because it was a lot less rushed. We ended up napping, we explored the site a bit. And another thing, you are allowed to explore the site before it opens to punters, but it is still considered a construction site, so you must wear your high vis, you must wear proper footwear. Yeah, so as I said, you get sent all the information before the festival, so I think they send you directions, they tell you what gate to come into, because there are multiple gates issued around the festival. I think we went into Red Gate. I don't know if that'll be the same for this year. But they'll send you a health and safety thing that you need to fill out. If you don't, you won't be allowed on site, and I think you need to prove that at accreditation to gain access. Yeah, they'll send you maps, they'll send you the recommended itinerary, travel guidelines and constant crew updates. Our wristbands are pretty much very similar to everyone else's. They have a QR code, they have the little Boomtown art, but they're just a different colour. With these wristbands, you will be emailed by MyCause and the festival, I'm not sure, but you'll be emailed by someone saying that you need to put money onto the wristband before the event, which if you don't do this, you might have a bit of trouble. So I'd recommend putting at least £100 on, and that's if you're not a drinker. If you drink, put 300, because it will be a long weekend, trust me, and you will be hungry, so hungry. The meals we bought from the burger bus were around £5 to £10. In that bracket. It depends what you get, but for the other places that we saw, it was actually relatively cheap. If you do forget to top up your wristband or you run out of money, they do have points all around the festival where you can top up. It is a bit awkward, but I needed to do it last year and it worked, so it wasn't a bad thing. So working with MyCause was one of my biggest achievements last year. It may seem silly, but I was in quite a rough place and it's really managed to push me out my comfort zone. I would recommend this to any students who need a cheap festival, or just some mums who just want to do something a bit fun. It's a really good time, and it's cheap, and you get your deposit back, and what's there to lose? For Boomtown in 2024, I think there are spaces left. I don't think there's a lot, but I would get on it quickly, because I'm afraid it's going to be a popular one this year. There are still many other festivals with openings, but this is the only one I can really comment on. I will leave a link to the MyCause applications below if anyone's interested in looking. But thank you so much for watching. I really wanted to do this video on the actual valley or the hidden woods, but It's private land, who knew? As I said, I made this video because I just want to help people who was in the same position that I was a year ago, just not really knowing how it goes. So I hope this was a quick and easy rundown of what actually happens, because it is a very daunting thing to just put yourself into. But yeah, thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Goodbye!